My name is Ken Whiting, originally native of Connecticut, New London, Connecticut. Came down to Miami in 1976, November. Started with the county at Crandon Park fixing amusement rides and snack bar equipment in January of 1977 and transferred to Vizcaya in February of 1979. I was hired Vizcaya as a maintenance repairman, which has to do with fixing electrical, plumbing, air conditioning, basically the infrastructure, stuff to do with a building or a facility. Over the years, the position changed the titles, first to maintenance mechanic and then to maintenance technician. Really didn't change the work, just different titles. My hobbies, which is how I ended up working here, is pipe organs, one of my hobbies. And I was working on the organ here to get it functioning again before I was an employee here. It was a coincidence I was an employee at Crandon Park. After working on that for, towards the end of '78, a maintenance position came open here. The position was open, so I applied for it and was accepted. And that led to 37.5 years. Back in the 1980 redo, the north end of the barge, the end facing us, was splitting. It was kind of opening up. And they removed all the stones off that top deck, dug out whatever in there. Breakwater is something you would put in front of a harbor, particularly if you're out on an open ocean. Here you're kind of protected because you're in the bay already. The idea was to break down the wave action so the waves wouldn't come like rolling into a harbor and disturbing the boats and whatnot. When Hurricane Andrew come through with the winds, it devastated the hammock. It didn't do much structural problems with the building. A few roof tiles blew off, but as far as the structure of the building, that came through okay. What really hit bad was the tide surge. It flooded the basement, the whole ground floor, and flooded the gardens. It knocked balustrades off on the barge. It compromised the obelisks. They used to use the carousel building on Virginia Key as a laboratory. Because the county owned the beach, Virginia Key, at that time. They later deeded it over to the city of Miami. But at that time, there was a conservation staff down there that used that building, and they reproduced those statues. And then on the south end, up towards the top of the south end, was another fountain feature with heads that spit water out into a pool. And that was just wastewater. It just went in and out. Costerian was pumping it from wells across the street, so I guess if you got to run a pump, either way you do it, it wasn't like you were wasting precious county water. Something went wrong. I think the pump died or rusted out because of it being in the weather, and somehow it never got replaced. In more recent times, it seemed like tides going through the barge was a common occurrence every month. And it was a king tide, it was even higher. It would probably come up to the lower fountain basins. And unless the barge is sunk, although I kind of doubt that, because if it did, it wouldn't have just all sunk nice and even.